Well, it's not just the Fords and GMs or even Teslas of the world that are getting into electric vehicles. It's also the high-end supercar makers. And Lotus is one of those. The company just introducing its new hyper SUV called the Lotus Eletre. Let's talk more about that with an executive from Lotus right now. That is Matt Windle. He's joining us to talk about it, as well as our Pras Subramanian. Matt, this is called a hyper SUV, this new electric SUV. What I not being a car person, admittedly, what makes it a hyper SUV? What are some of the features that give it that designation?
There's a few elements to it. The performance is one. So it'll be doing 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. The car. It's got hypercharger as well, hypercharging as well. So quick charging on a 350 kilowatt charger. But also its looks. It's based on our hypercar Avaya, and some of that DNA of the design language has gone through it as well.
Hey, Matt, Pras here. So, traditionally Lotus customers are sports car oriented. They want that really performance-oriented kind of vehicle. That's why they're coming to Lotus for. And what are your customers telling you about, do they want an SUV, let alone an EV SUV?
They do. And we did a lot of market research before we went down the road with this car. And it's a lifestyle car. We want to bring out a range of lifestyle cars to complement what we've got in the sports car and hypercar space. And we feel the time is right for this vehicle. The EV market's growing rapidly, not just now because of gas prices, but it has been for the last couple of years.
Matt, do you know yet what the price point for this vehicle is going to be?
So in the UK, it will start at under £100,000.
Hey, Matt. Part of the. I'm sorry, Julie. So Matt, so part of the plan for you guys is it's a full EV roadmap. You guys are going to have 3 more EVs coming out through 2026, I believe, a sedan, a sports car, and another SUV. Tell us about that segmentation. Why do you think that works for Lotus going forward?
They're popular segments. They're growing segments. They are bigger cars as well, appeal to the Chinese market, and they appeal to the American market. And these are areas where we see a big segment of the sales going. And as I said, we want to have a car for every stage of your life. So whether you have the sports car at the start and then go back to it afterwards, but when you've got the family and you need to move things around, you've got the option with Lotus as well.
Right. So you guys are kind of putting out all these options for your customers going forward. And part of that is a big investment, I imagine, from the company side to make these cars. And I know you're using a kind of a common platform for the EVs, but part of that big investment has come from Geely. You're the new owner of Lotus for a few years now. Tell us about that relationship. And does Lotus finally have the money and resources it needs to see this path forward?
We do. And Geely have been incredibly supportive as our majority shareholders. And the plan was there. I think they've shown the evidence through what they've done with Volvo and Polestar, and we're following on that same path as well. So it's a very exciting time for us. We've got 3 new cars going into production over the next 6 months. And then, as you say, we'll be launching another 3 over the next 4 years. So it's very busy times here.
Lotus, as you say, owned by Geely, as we've been talking about, Chinese company, has a long legacy in the UK, however, where your headquarters still is, and some of your manufacturing is as well. But it's my understanding that the new car is being made in China. How do you guys determine what's still made in the UK, what's made in China, and how those supply chains work?
So we want the sports cars to stay at the centre of the brand. We mentioned it earlier. They're important to us, so they're going to be produced in the UK. So we're committed to sports car manufacture here, and you can see the picture of Emira behind me. That we've invested 100 million in this site over the last couple of years to put a semi-automated factory in. And what we've decided to do is the lifestyle vehicles will be produced in China. With the amount of growth that we've got and the volume targets we've had to split the manufacturing locations.
Hey, Matt, one last question here. I want to pivot back to that Emira, the gas-powered sports car. I saw that in New York late last year. It looked pretty cool. I'm just curious how that's going in terms of the launch, international launch for that car. How soon will we see in the States? And will we see a potential hybrid or EV version of that car in the future?
So yeah, well, we met in New York, didn't we? So that was nice. But so the rollout's going well. Production started. We're going to start customer deliveries very soon in the summer. It'll be later this year that we get the cars over into the States because of the homologation that we need to do. And at the moment, we're planning to just do this as an ICE car. There are 2 engine options, and then the next sports car from us will be all electric, and that's already started down in the design studio, and I'm very excited about that car.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing these cars on the road, even if I cannot afford one myself, to be frank. Matt, thank you so much for being here. Matt Windle, Lotus Cars Managing Director, and our Pras Subramani, who covers autos for us. Thanks to you both. Appreciate it.